Hello and welcome back to what I'm calling Epileptalk because I love a good play on words. Today we are being joined by my stuffed animals on my bed and a cat in the corner who might make an appearance. I'm actually making this because surprisingly people were actually watching the videos that I was making, and I had a few people ask me to make more about it just to voice some opinions, and the one I'm doing right now is going to be the struggles of relationships in epilepsy, because it is very difficult just dealing with it on your own. And when you go to bring another person, whether it be friend, family, more than friends, into the picture, it also makes it more stressful for them. And a lot of people choose not to stay. And it is very sad, but at the same time, if someone is leaving because they don't want to deal with that, then they wouldn't really be a good friend anyway. So to anyone who has lost any friends because of this, just know that if someone left because they couldn't handle you, then you deserve better friends anyways. But I am going to talk about that because it has been very hard. As I mentioned, like, I've lost a lot of friends. I've lost the respect of a lot of people because epilepsy does come with issues. A big thing is obviously, the medical side of things. People don't know what to do when you have a seizure, and just the thought of that freaks them out. A lot of people, as I've mentioned, are uneducated, and this leads them to have false presumptions about what actually happens to epileptics and what they go through and all of that. So just to start off with the basics is friends. It's very hard as an epileptic to make friends because you never know when to drop the whole "I'm epileptic" bomb. You wait too long, you might scare someone more, but if you say it too soon, you could scare them away before you even get a chance. And I've struggled with that issue for a while, so I just really tell people off the bat now, I'm epileptic. I don't have seizures anymore, but my epilepsy does still act up. It causes me to act funky sometimes, and if people can't handle that, then I don't even know if I can put in the effort to help them do that, because it is just very stressful dealing with it on your own. And being epileptic, at least as myself, I've become a very blunt person. I just tell people things how they are, and I try not to sugarcoat it. Like, yes, there's a chance at any moment I could have a seizure. When I meet someone new and I realize they are coming into my life, I have to tell them what to do if I have a seizure. I have to tell them my seizure plan. I have to tell them the basics of it. And that in itself scares people. I mean, even talking about it is scary. And even though I've gone through it hundreds of times, actually having seizures, it's even talking about it is still stressful, and a lot of people don't like hearing it. It freaks them out. I mean, I've met other people who have had epilepsy or had seizures, and you just sort of shyly say it because you're afraid of someone judging you or someone getting the wrong impression of you. And the person who actually recommended that I make this said that epilepsy is what you have. It's not who you are. I mean, it plays a part in how I act and everything, but it's still not who I am as a person. I can be pretty awesome, but at the same time, my epilepsy can make me seem pretty crazy. It can cause us to act up, especially depending on where your seizures, where in your brain they start. It can cause a lot of issues. Like, mine start where the mental health portion of my brain is. So I either overreact or underreact to literally everything, and there is no in between. And this has caused so many issues with so many people because the smallest things will bother me, and I will try to express this and it will just spiral out of control because I overreact to such small things, and other things that people get so excited about, I just don't know how to react to them, and this also seems bad. And another thing is boundaries. I have a very bad comprehension of boundaries, and like, when I'm talking to someone new, I don't know when the line is too far. Is like, oh, I just met you, why are you telling me you're having seizures and stuff like that? Some people don't want to hear stuff like that off the bat, and I don't know when to sort of bring that into the picture. And it's that way with not just epilepsy, but a bunch of things. And it's very hard to communicate with people about epilepsy, especially when they're not epileptic. I have an epileptic friend who, I'm not going to say their name, but because I don't know if they want to be talked about, but literally we talk about our epilepsy and it's like, oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. But when you're trying to explain it to someone who's not epileptic, it's like writing it on a whiteboard in a different language and them having a blindfold on. There's no way to physically explain what we go through to other people. And with that comes people misunderstanding, especially in relationships, because as you start building a closer bond to someone, it's harder and harder to hide the things that you're doing. Like I still have episodes where my epilepsy will act up and I will just go really quiet. I won't be able to focus. I'll be very disassociated, and it may seem like I'm not paying attention, but in all actuality, I can't focus for the life of me. And it seems rude, but I can't help it. And people will take this the wrong way, and people take a lot of things the wrong way. And it's hard to deal with. And I know I'm probably repeating myself, but there's just some things that require like a lot of emphasis. Another hard thing with epilepsy is if you are still having seizures, making friends is impossible. When I started having seizures, all of my friends, or at least almost all of them, left. Family members sort of stopped associating themselves with me. People didn't want to hang out because it was too stressful to be around the epileptic. And it sucks. I mean, I'm still a person, I still have feelings, but everyone sees me for my seizures instead of who I am as a person. And this is like a kind of deeper talk, but it's very hard even making friends, finding people, because we've gotten to a point, or at least I have, where I don't want to really deal with, bull crap and people being fake, because people will say they're there for you, and then when you really need it, they won't be. And especially living with an illness like this, you really need to know people are there for you, because along with everything else, as myself, like I have very bad trust issues because people have said they were there for me and they weren't, and it causes me to think that no one is ever going to be there for me and that I need to do everything by myself. And it makes finding people and trusting them more hard as well. And just anything that a normal person could do when it comes to socializing is 10, 20 times harder when you have that constant fear of scaring people away and not knowing if you should even talk about what you want to talk about because it might scare them. And people, even if they say they're there for you, sometimes they'll leave anyways. They won't be able to handle it anymore, or a distance will grow between you and someone you were once close to because now there's something in the way of that. And I had a lot of friends before I started having seizures who I'm not friends with now because I changed as a person once I started having them. I ended up losing a friend because she said I was too immature for her. This was when I was 16, and I couldn't help it because sometimes I just randomly act out and say stupid things, and I can't blame my actions purely on my epilepsy. But I mean, she knew that I had these issues, and she still chose to say that because that she didn't want to be my friend, and that's totally okay. It's just there's a lot of things that come into our lives that make it even more difficult, because people don't see us for the people that we are. They see us for the illness that we have, and it makes it very hard to even bother trying to make friends. And then once things get more serious, say towards relationship wise, everything becomes a million times more stressful, because now you have someone who is dedicating their life to you, once things get more serious, and you have to worry about not being able to do it back, stressing them out too much, having them deal with your issues, and possibly putting them through the stress of watching the person that they love completely lose control and have a seizure, or just even start acting up. It's very stressful. I mean, I've only seen a few people have seizures, but from what I've heard about people seeing me, it's heartbreaking. You can't do anything, and it's even stressful thinking about putting someone through that. And there are so many times I just wish I didn't have epilepsy, because it does make friendships a lot harder. I mean, everything else I can deal with, but the social aspects of it are very, very hard. And a lot of people don't realize that it's not just having seizures. It is so much more than that. And it's very hard to cope with it as well. And when you don't have the people there to help you, it's hard to find things that help you cope with it alone, because everything feels a million times lonelier. And there's a lot of things that we can't do because of our epilepsy. I used to play the flute to help cope with things, but my epilepsy was caused by a lack of oxygen, and I couldn't play the flute anymore. I used to rollerblade or bike or walk around, and I couldn't do that anymore because I had a seizure while I was rollerblading one time and completely scraped up my face, and it was just very bad. And it's hard. That's why having friends makes it easier, because they can do things with you that are still fun, and you aren't as scared because you know that someone's there for you. But finding those friends is very, very difficult. And I can say, as an epileptic, I have a friend now who I know is there for me, and I am so lucky to have that, because I've never had someone be there for me. And it's very hard to imagine going back to that spot I was in, where the only people I had were the people who had to be there for me. And you can tell that it stresses people out, and it's very hard just dealing with everything that you have to. And the worst part is you can't do anything to fix it. You can't snap your fingers and not have epilepsy. Epilepsy is a lifelong disease, and certain things, you just have to put up with. And it's very difficult. It's very stressful. And the amount of epileptics that have mental health issues, especially depression, is very high, because first of all, epilepsy can just cause that, and second of all, it's very hard dealing with an illness like this, and having so many people be scared of it and miseducated, and losing friendships and losing family. And it's just, I'm just making these so people at least understand a bit more what we have to go through, because it is, like I said, very difficult. I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm just trying to get a point across. Definitely, if you know someone who has epilepsy, make an effort to reach out and, try to be their friend, because I have met some pretty killer people that have had it, and, me being one of them. It can be a lot of fun. I mean, and then, you can joke around about stuff, and like I said, at the end of the day, we're still people, and nothing changes about that. We just come with a little extra baggage than most people would care to deal with. But if you're willing to pull that baggage by any means, please reach out to anyone that you know, because it means the world when we know that there's one more person out there that understands and cares. I'm actually making this right now at almost 1 in the morning because I really wanted to get this video done, and because it's a very big deal to me, and I'm actually having my VNS surgery in 9.5 hours, so I'm probably not going to be able to, make one of these for a while. So I just really wanted to get that out there and just remember, like, at the end of the day, we are still people, and we probably are some of the most caring people because we know what it feels like to have no one on our side. And I definitely think that, like, we could make some pretty good friends if you give us a chance. So thank you for watching and listening to this. And if anyone has any questions from the whole, I think, 4 subscribers that I have, or anyone viewing, comment. I don't know if you can message on YouTube, but, find a way to contact me, and I'm willing to make a video. Have fun. See you in like a week.